How are you doing this afternoon, Unati?
I'm very well, thank you, Bridget. And how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for the time. So, 10 years of the South African Cultural Observatory, but perhaps for the benefit of all of us, let's get an understanding of this organization and the initial motivation behind its formation.
Okay. Thank you, Bridget, for having us. So in fact, the vision started more than 10 years ago, but the implementation started 10 years ago. So South African Cultural Observatory came as a result was just through the Mzansi Golden Economy
Mm,
strategy, which identified creative sector in South Africa as the new.
mm,
What government lacked, though, at the time was the data to back up what they didn't have an understanding of how big or how small the sector is
mm,
in terms of what it contributes to the country and employment and issues of trade and also how it what role it plays towards nation building. And there were no tools to measure this. All of this mentioned.
mm,
So then it was then decided various stakeholder engagement. Now, exceeding my time, that they need to have an institution that's going to assist them first, making decisions to support this industry as well as any other
mm,
industry. Need to have you need to have numbers. If you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. I think that's a slogan we've up for the
mm,
past 10 years. And as a result, the South African Cultural Observatory then was established in 2015, and it was hosted at Nelson Mandela University, several partners, University of KwaZulu-Natal, University of in my.
mm,
So our mandate um, basically is to map the economic size and contribution of the sector in terms of GDP contribution, in terms of employment, and in terms of trade. And so that's what we've been doing the last 10 years. We've been collecting, we've been classifying, we've been counting, and we've now built one of the richest data ecosystems in Africa,
mm,
spanning the arts, culture, heritage, design, and recently sports. As you
mm,
would know, that the department merged sport in 2019. So in this, at SACO, we see an economy that's just cultural and not just creative, but it's also competitive. And we've covered, for instance, things like the sector contributes 3%, creative economy
mm,
contributes 3% to South African and the sports sector about 1.4 to GDP. So roughly 4% to South Africa. So, and to put that into context, Bridget, the creative and sports economy is of the same size as agriculture or utilities,
mm,
and it's still growing faster than many traditional sectors. So that's SACO in a nutshell. So the last 10 years for us have been about classifying, they've been about counting, they've been about measuring.
mm,
And as I've mentioned earlier, we've been doing this with partners, and also we've been doing it with key stakeholders around the country and abroad. We've worked and we continue to work very closely with international organizations such as UNCTAD.
mm.
UNCTAD actually features the South African findings through SACO on their economic outlook reports that they produce annually.
Mm.
We work closely with like UNESCO, OECD, the GIS, and then as well quite a number of institutions and entities that we work with, as well as the sector.
Mm. Now, Unati, if you could also just, clue us in as to over the last 10 years and under the leadership of your partners, the Nelson Mandela University, but also with all your other supporting partners, what have these partnerships enabled, especially perhaps in how we've come to understand the creative economy and its contributions?
These relationships, Bridget, have enabled us to understand not just, for instance, the progress in terms of how far the sector has gone, but they've also helped us to understand where inclusion needs to happen.
Mm,
For instance, this sector is largely informal. A lot of people that are working in the creative economy, especially, are freelancers, and people are working on short-term contracts.
mm,
And as a result of the work that SACO has done, it has enabled for us to be able to make recommendations to the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, which is the client for this,
mm,
to say these are the things that needs to be looked at. I know it's issues that cannot be resolved by the department alone,
mm,
but it needs a conversation between various stakeholders, including the South African Revenue Service, perhaps the Department of Businesses, uh, Small Business Development, the ICT. I'm saying this because during the COVID-19 pandemic,
mm,
when the country went on lockdown, and you know, a lot of people couldn't work. Those who were able to migrate their work to digital platforms so that they can, continue trading, they can continue engaging in, with their customers,
mm,
could do that. But then there were businesses that just couldn't. And they closed permanently. People lost jobs, and some didn't make it after the COVID
mm,
pandemic. And what then happened through the research that SACO has been is the department and perhaps through in other various stakeholders were able to package or put together packages or programs that would then offer relief to creatives for that period and even beyond that period. But also it allowed the new government and various stakeholders to start conversations with other departments to say, let's look at supporting the sector in other ways over the past, just providing funding where there's gaps, skills. Let's look at how we can bridge that gap. Where there's
mm,
gaps in funding, let's look at how we can actually bridge those gaps. I know there's still a lot of those are still a work in progress, but the work that we've done with us uplift all of those things.
yeah,
The gaps in policies as well, because we've got um, national policy saying one thing, and then you've got district development models saying the other thing. As a result, you'll find that within the creative sector, there's so many conversations that are taking place at the same time, trying to solve the same issues, but the sector is not talking to each other. So,
absolutely.
so these are some of the things that through SACO we have been trying and we've been doing over
Mm.
the last 10 years to bridge those gaps.
I don't want us to run out of time without trying to squeeze in one or two other important issues in our last 2 minutes. We speak a lot about arts and culture, sort of as in the creative sector as a cultural identifier. But a lot of the data that you now are focused on and working on reinforces the idea of the creative sectors as an economic development vehicle and tool, right? So what does this essentially then mean in terms of just shifting government's plans and shifting the country's plans and investments when it comes to the sector?
Okay. Um, Bridget, the future of the sector with government hand in hand depends on the number of choices that we all have to make. And I think at the conference, we will have an opportunity to then talk about some of these choices that we are faced with
Mm,
and more. But what comes to mind for me is the issue of inclusion.
mm,
We live now in a world where technology is rewriting the for everyone in terms of how we're doing things vis-a-vis when we used to do them. And for me, somebody who's worked in this project for the last 8 years, one of the things, for instance, discovered at SACO research is that the creative map of South Africa is still uneven. Gauteng, the Western Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal still dominate action, while provinces like Eastern Cape and the Mpumalangas and the Eastern Cape, they overflow with talent, but they lack the infrastructure to compete. And so we need to have to having a look at things and be able to invest not only in things such as studios and
Mm,
broadband, but also focus on people training, the mentorship. I think I mentioned
yeah,
earlier on, you know. And the other one that comes to mind is the issue of imagination. We're talking about creative economy and sports futures. So we need to be able to stretch beyond the survival mindset that is
absolutely.
defined in many careers in the creative space.
Nati,
Um,
we have to
mm,
leave it there, unfortunately, for today. But I think we'll definitely pick up the conversation with Seko at a later stage. But for today, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. That was Unati Luchaba, Executive Director of the South African Cultural Observatory. They have the international conference that is coming up from the 5th until the 6th of November in Cape Town under the theme Creative Economy Futures, Perspectives, Policies and Practice for Tomorrow. And it's going to convene national and global voices to reflect on how creativity, innovation, and data can drive inclusive growth. It's 1:30. It's time for us to catch up with Ondelambana and the headline news.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, the High Court in Johannesburg has ruled that the city of Johannesburg must immediately begin verification, registration, re-registration, and allocation processes for informal traders who were removed from parts of the city centre. The Matlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria has been informed that the Hawks Tactical Operations Head, Brigadier Lisiba Mukwena, has been advised not to participate at this stage. And Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan has been sworn in for a second term. This comes days after she was declared the winner of last week's disputed election with nearly 98% of the vote. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Bridget Masinga, weekdays on The Full Circle.
All right, so the Mr. Price Foundation has announced an ambitious plan to get 500,000 youth economically resilient by 2035. We're going to find out exactly how they aim on going about that. Octavius Pukubwe is going to be joining us in a moment, the Mr. Price Foundation Executive Director. This target was revealed in its newly released FY 2025 Integrated Impact Report. And it comes as the country is facing a youth unemployment crisis with over 7.7 million young people not in employment, education, or training. So this is a necessary intervention, and I think even made more alluring by a brand that has come to really cement itself and endear itself to the youth market in South Africa. Octavius Pukubwe joins us now, Mr. Price Foundation Executive Director. How are you doing this afternoon, Octavius?
Good afternoon, Bridget, and good afternoon to your listeners as well. I'm doing good. I'm excited.
Thank you so much for the time. All right, let's perhaps before we even get to this fabulously ambitious plan that you've got about 10 years to execute, but let's find out more about your FY 2025 Integrated Impact Report because this informed the thinking around the plan to get 500 youth economically resilient.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Look, 125, what we saw, investment in initiatives, schools, and one that so sports, the sector, about yeah, yeah. In entrepreneurship, we know that young people are not hegemonic, not one thing with one branch, and there are other young people to start still. And we thought our 55 in big, big ecosystem. Last in education, we had done a lot of work in education. challenge of but now we started taking it how we can enable more young people to reach government, society, solving the education challenge through setting up programs, setting up of centers and learning hubs. So from that year, I mean, actually the first effect for us was so good, but it may just maybe enough, for our very ambitious young through those 3 other keys, not.
Mm. You guys used the data, obviously, used the data-informed approaches to provide focused programs, right? And
Yeah.
collaborative programs. Tell us a little bit more about these programs and the success, obviously, the tangible success that you've seen through them in sort of the years and how then that scales up to meet this target of 500,000 youth.
Yeah, very difficult question. So in skills development, when we have found words, we're not rejected. Running skills development, through demand led and industry, not just training young people of training. So we partner with the industry, what are the skills gaps in your sector, and then deploy our resources, our investment, to try and fill those gaps. Therefore, the industry doesn't come back and say, well, these guys are not ready for what we are looking for. They don't have to build the experience. Also, break areas by enabling young to fast track through those pathways, those developments. So, but the partnership with the industry is important, and we're confident in how what it is. We say, what are the skills in the retail and clothing? We'll ask groups, we'll ask other partners who are in the program called Jumpstart, where we've been part of 6,000 young people today through the entire value chain, not only just stores, in stores, production line, manufacturing line, etc. Right? In entrepreneurship is the same. What are the sectors and what are the areas that we young people are in? We know young people now are familiar with like whether you're in the township, whether you're in a rural area, whether you're in an urban area. Therefore, they just need a tool to start of their enterprises. And that's really how we get data driven, and that if so much lack of funding in the sector with virtual yes, people take risk and be a little bit patient in how we see. So that's why I just watched youth digest the youth information program called the Youth Fund. We meet young in the education space. I mean, our literacy and numeracy level country in comparison to other countries. And I think there's so many efforts that have been rolled out. The data for us was, what is the future of education in the next 10 years? Where are we building the pipeline of the leaders of the education sector? And therefore, that's why we thought, thoroughly look for young teachers or young ambitious professions in the K economy and support such as to set up ECDs, learning hubs, augment what we then build pipelines, HODs, management.
Octavius, I wish we had more time to dedicate to this because, there's been some serious successes with Mr. Price Foundation and some of the interventions that you've put into place across those 3 key areas of focus: employment, education, and training. But we have to leave it there for today. But kudos on you for seeing a problem and plugging yourself into the gap to try and be a solution. That was Octavius Pukupye, who is the Mr. Price Foundation Executive Director, with that ambition of getting 500,000 youth economically resilient by 2023, 2035, my apologies. And I definitely think they're well on their way to doing that. We're going to hit a quick pause and then we come back on the other side. We catch up quickly with Reverend Musa Zondi, who's the MEC of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs in KZN.
The Dogs of War are ready to fight for 90 minutes to grab 3 vital points in front of their home fans.
Joe with the cutback.
However, the cottagers want to add extra efforts to triumph and find a way out of the bottom half.
It's a great finish.
This is the Premier League. Catch Everton FC versus Fulham FC on Saturday, 8 November at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Gordon Ramsay is back, and your favorite kitchen disasters are still somehow in business. New season, same confused chefs, terrifying walk-ins, and enough grease to fry your Wi-Fi. Watch as Gordon tries to fix the unfixable with nothing but sheer rage, British sarcasm, and an iron stomach. Kitchen Nightmares Season 8, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on S3. Come for the food, stay for the emotional damage.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
All right, we were just in Durban the other day on his invite for the economic conference portion of his portfolio. And today we are talking the tourism portion of his portfolio with Rev Musa Zondi, the MBC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs in KZN. And the KZN Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs is hosting the KZN Tourism Conference, which is happening on the 7th of November, later this week in Durban, with the primary aim of evaluating and enhancing the province's comparative advantages to boost tourism. How are you doing this afternoon, Rev?
I'm doing fine, Bridget. And very much for.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for the time. Let's get on with it. So you have the conference happening on the 7th of November with a very key focus. Speak to us about that exactly, the plan for the conference and the hopes in what the conference will achieve.
Well, as you know, Bridget, tourism is one of the sectors that holds to drive economic development in the local government. See, led by best economic overall, it opportunity. In our view, the conference is particularly important to gather all the critical stakeholders to reflect on the challenges facing the sector and to identify opportunities that is.
Hmm.
And when you know that has most that economic so food is aligned and celebration.
Hmm. Uh, Now, this year, the conference's theme is tourism in transition, confronting challenges, cultivating tomorrow, and connecting through collaboration. Now, the theme suggests both a reflective perspective to the conference as well as an action-based agenda. Am I correct?
No, you're quite correct because to current context which are in province. As we speak, we are in an yeah, it's called the province experience review with devastating impact on cultural track, okay, by the so furthermore the sector is from COVID. And all these factors, we have to reflect that us into what we do. So when we talk about cultivating tomorrow, it's about investing in what is next to us in order to attract modern such as digital transformation, a new sector. So it's requires high collaboration and in the tax tourism, okay,
Mm.
as the department, the government. So it really look at
Mm. I know that one of the conference goals is to foster stronger partnerships between government, private sector, and of course, local communities. What are the concrete steps, Rev, that are being taken to ensure that this collaboration actually leads to measurable improvements, especially if we're talking tourism growth and competitiveness?
well, you see the engagement that you have started
Mm.
first between public and private with the shared goal of talent exploitation in the second, the tourism stakeholders will have to such as to propose innovative uh, implement program hope one of the results of the conference. That response effect has been
Mm.
on from where I'm sitting, I have had the time my organization comment that we from the past from the department of plan strategic movement. And furthermore, I've heard what we are doing. Permanent of the committee quarterly,
Mm.
and this committee I chair takes local mayors, all levels, departments, man directly on and the government. So that together, all of us in
Mm.
all these efforts, we can really encourage because to combat poverty and unemployment,
Mm.
we need all hands on the deck.
Absolutely. And just by way of final question as we wrap up our conversation, when we were in Durban and you and I spoke at the Economic Development Conference last week, we spoke about the power of collaboration, right? And much too for tourism as well. Let's talk about the power and importance of collaboration, especially in growing the tourism sector in KZN.
Well, you see, collaboration is critical. But when it comes to tourism, you see, the sort of department
Mm.
and by extension, tourism or HK tourism. And, but this is far from it. Really, tourism is a complex, that on and it's range that that this realization part and the tourism object cannot be taken in an operation. It may have the tourism
Mm.
background in so it is called up include great and uh, uh,
Absolutely. Rev, thank you for the time. We will see you when next you extend us an invite to Durban. That was Rev Musa Zondi, MEC for Economic Development, Tourism, and Environmental Affairs in KZN, with that conference coming up on the 7th of November in Durban. It is fast approaching 10 to 2 o'clock. We're going to get into our kids' programming now with Kids Corner. That should take us until the top of the hour. And then Ondelambana is going to come through with the 2 o'clock news before we go back to that Madlanga Commission that is currently on a lunch break. But yeah, that's it by way of content for our hour right now. We're just standing by in the wings in case things get shook at the Madlanga Commission in the second hour.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to our Saturday edition of Know Your World. Today we're talking about one of the most famous landmarks in the world, Big Ben. Have you ever heard of Big Ben? What do you think it is? And where do you think it's found? Why do you think it's so famous and special to the people who live near it? Big Ben is one of London's most well-known symbols, and its big clock tower has been keeping time for over 100 years. Why do you think it's important for cities to have landmarks like Big Ben? Alright, let's hear from some of our friends while you share your answers with the people next to you.
Hi, my name is Mbalendle. Yes, I have heard of the Big Ben. I think that it is a giant clock. It is situated in London, England. I think it's famous because it is a unique clock tower design and has a massive bell. I think it's important because of how large it is. I also think so because they attract more tourists. Some things that I have heard of the Big Ben are the Big Ben is over 150 years old and the clock faces are very large.
Hello everyone, my name is Bridget Masinga and I go to Holy House.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello friends and welcome to our first Kids Corner of the month. Hello November! I hope you're all feeling ready and confident as you prepare for your final exams. Today let's take a deep breath of fresh air and talk about one of the most beautiful things around us, nature. What are some of your favorite things in nature? Maybe trees, animals, or colorful flowers? How do you feel when you spend time outside? Why do you think nature is so important for people, animals, and our planet? What are some of the things we can do to help take care of our nature and keep it clean and safe for everyone? And if you could spend one day in nature, what would you love to do? Climb trees, go for a walk, or just relax and listen to the birds? All right, let's hear from some of our friends while you share your answers with the people next to you.
Good day, my name is Progress Mbembe. I am 11 years old. Some of my favorite things in nature are tall oak trees because they provide great shade and are home to many birds. I also love butterflies because they are so colorful and beautiful. Flowers like roses and wildfire make me feel happy when I see them. When I am outside in nature, I feel relaxed and peaceful. It's a great way to escape from screens and enjoy the fresh air. Being surrounded by nature makes me feel more connected to the world. Nature is super important because it gives us clean air to breathe and food to eat. Animals depend on nature for their habits and food too. Plus, nature plays a big role in keeping our planet clean, healthy by providing resources and helping regulate our environment. We can do a lot to help, like recycling and reducing waste. Picking up litter when we see it is important too. Planting trees and taking care of our parks can make a big difference in keeping nature clean and safe. If I could spend a whole day in nature, I would love to go hiking in a beautiful forest. I'd bring a picnic to enjoy, take pictures of plants and animals I find, and maybe even do bird watching. It would be amazing to explore and appreciate everything around me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Agona Takaran. I am 9 years old and I am in grade 4. One of my favorite things in nature is ants because they are smart and strong. When I spend time outside in nature, I feel excited to see the trees and the animals and the insects. I think nature is important because it gives us air, water, food, and homes for animals and insects. We can help nature stay clean and safe by picking up all the trash and recycle and filter the water that has been polluted by the chemicals and trash. If I could spend one day in nature, I would like to learn and explore what is about nature, like the facts of animals and more, like fish, birds, insects like ants, spiders, and more.
Greetings, my name is Praise Ziba. Today I'll be talking about the love I have for nature. One of my favorite things in nature is that trees give us oxygen to breathe, and without the sun, we won't have photosynthesis to take place in nature, and for that, we won't have life on Earth. I feel very good when spending time outside because I feel relieved. Nature is so relaxing because you can plant anything to keep yourself busy and learn more about the planet. What we can do to help take care of nature is stop air pollution and make sure we water our plants with clean water. And if I would spend a whole day in nature, I would plant more and more trees in order to improve oxygen for human beings.
A good day, everyone. My name is Lorraine, and thank you so much for listening to the Kids Radio Show today. My favorite things in nature are flowers and trees and just nature in general. When I go outside into nature, I actually feel really peaceful because for some reason nature just makes me feel peaceful. How I think nature is impossible for the planet in general is that with nature, life on Earth is possible. For example, us humans, we need oxygen, and the Earth provides that. For plants, they need sunlight, which is provided by the sun. And for animals, and for us, we need food, which is like crops and all that. So that's why nature is very important in this Earth. What we can do to keep our nature clean and beautiful is that we can pick up litter and we can also stop littering because I've noticed that littering is a very big problem. If I could spend a whole day in nature, what I would do is I would just sit outside, pick out a book, and read it while I'm in nature. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Good day. My name and surname is Apelele Bebe, and I am 8 years old. I really love watching birds because they are so colorful and fun to see fly around. I also like big trees because they provide shade and make the forest look beautiful. Flowers like daisies and sunflowers are my favorite because they are bright and cheerful. When I am outside in nature, I feel really happy and calm. It's nice to breathe the fresh air and listen to the sounds of birds. Sometimes I feel like I I'm on an adventure. Nature is super important because it gives us clean air to breathe and water to drink. Animals rely on nature for their homes and, and food. It's also good for the plants because healthy nature helps keep everything balanced and happy. We, we can do simple things like pick up litter when we see it, plus planting trees and recycling. Also, we should make sure not to waste water and to use less plastic so we can keep our plastic clean. I would love to go to a big park or a forest and explore. I'd bring a picnic basket and go on a hike and maybe even look for cool bugs and plants. I think it would be awesome to have some time to just relax and enjoy all the awesome things around me. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. It's always great to hear from you. Today, let's take a deep breath and talk about something truly beautiful nature. The trees, flowers, rivers, and animals around us make the world such a magical and peaceful place. What are some of your favorite things in nature? Maybe you love the sound of birds singing in the morning, the smell of flowers blooming in the garden, or the feeling of cool grass under your feet. When we spend time outside, nature has a way of making us feel happy, calm, and alive. The sunlight warms our skin, the breeze refreshes our minds, and the sounds around us remind us how amazing our planet really is. Whether it's climbing a tree, walking on the beach, or watching ants build their little homes, there's always something wonderful to discover. Nature is not just beautiful, it's very important for everyone people, animals, and the earth itself. Trees give us oxygen to breathe, plants provide food, and rivers bring clean water. Animals and insects help keep everything balanced. Bees help flowers grow, worms keep the soil healthy, and birds spread seeds that grow into new plants. That's why we all have to do our part to take care of nature. Simple things like throwing rubbish in the bins, saving water, planting trees, and not harming animals can make a big difference. We can also reuse, recycle, and remind our friends and family to keep our environment clean. If you could spend a day in nature, what would you love to do? Maybe you'd explore a forest trail, have a picnic by the lake, or lie down the stars at night. Whatever you choose, nature will always have something peaceful and exciting waiting for you. And remember to explore nature with an adult. So, friends, let's remember nature is our home, our friend, and our greatest teacher. When we take care of it, it takes care of us too. Let's keep our world green, clean, and full of life. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
On the top stories, court rules in favor of informal traders in the Seri matter, and Tanzania's president sworn in. For SAFM News, I'm Onde Lambana, and a very good day. The High Court in Johannesburg has ruled that the city of Johannesburg must immediately begin verification, registration, re-registration and allocation processes for informal traders who were removed from parts of the city centre. The Socio-Economic Rights Institute took the city to court on behalf of the informal traders last week over the forced removals. The city said they were operating illegally and in areas not designated for trading. Delivering judgment, Judge Brett Wenless said the processes must start tomorrow.
The first respondent, the City of Johannesburg, is to conduct an expedited verification, registration, re-registration, allocation process as contemplated by the Informal Trading Bylaws, promulgated in the Provincial Gazette dated 14 March 2012, Local Authority Notice 328, read with the applicable provisions of the Businesses Act 71 of 1991 as amended.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria has been informed that the Hawks Tactical Operations Head, Brigadier Lisiba Mkwena, has been advised not to participate at this stage. The Commission had requested him to return to testify after the Chief Inspector of the Gauteng Traffic Police Air Wing, George Raftopoulos, contradicted his testimony. Last week, Brigadier Mkwena said he was not part of a WhatsApp group through which Hawks officers were mobilized to go to the home of murder-accused Katiso Katie Molefe during his arrest in December last year. However, during the testimony of Raftopoulos, the Commission was shown evidence which proved otherwise. Evidence leader Advocate Lee Segels Ncube.
The indication from Brigadier Mokoena in our engagements with him over the weekend is that he would prefer not to return to the Commission at this stage until he has considered legal advice and considered all the evidence that will be led in this matter. He's not sure if at this stage he is considered an implicated person, having regard to the evidence that was led last week. And my understanding from the DPCI's legal advisor is that they've advised him not to participate at this stage unless the Commission absolutely wants him to come.
2 female security guards have been kidnapped, raped, one murdered and the other left for dead at Qwili village near Biki in the Eastern Cape. They were on duty at the local clinic when unknown assailants forcefully entered the clinic, took the women to a nearby open field. The OR Tambo District Deputy Commissioner Brigadier Vukile Nduli says it seems firearms were used in the crime as one victim is in hospital with a gunshot wound to the head.
We found that the security guards that were manning the clinic overnight were no longer there, and we made some search and we found those 2 security guards in the open fields just behind the clinic, and one of them was already dead, whereas the other one was critically injured. So it looks like firearms were used.
A 20-year-old female learner will appear in the Leboa Magistrates Court today for allegedly pouring boiling water on another learner at Gakgatlo Secondary School in Siliteng in Limpopo. Police spokesperson Malisela Lidwaba says the learner accused the male learner of touching her inappropriately. The learner who sustained severe burn wounds has denied the accusation. Lidwaba says the incident happened when the learners were preparing for the final exams.
The victim, after being poured with boiling water, sustained serious burn injuries and was transported to hospital where he remains admitted under medical care. Following thorough investigation, the suspect, aged 20, was arrested on Friday, 31st of October 2025 and charged with assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. 3rd of November 2025. Police investigations are continuing.
Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan has been sworn in for a second term. This comes days after she was declared the winner of last week's disputed election with nearly 98% of the vote. She took her oath of office at a ceremony at the State House in Dodoma amid tight security after days of unrest in Dar es Salaam and several other towns over the vote. The BBC's Akisa Wandera reports.
The event, for the first time in the history of the country, is being closed to the public with only a limited number of invited guests. But of course, it follows a very tense period. The past week has been filled with election-related unrest that has seen reports of hundreds of people being killed. So, of course, it's a ceremony that comes in under a cloud of a lot of doubt and a lot of blame on Samia Suluhu Hassan on the government's handling of the protests that have been witnessed in the past few days.
Recapping the top story, the High Court in Johannesburg has ruled that the city of Johannesburg must immediately begin verification, registration, re-registration and allocation processes for informal traders who were removed from parts of the city centre. I am Ondela Mbana for SAFM News Headlines at 2:30.
I don't love school. I don't love trying to learn like everyone else learns and falling behind when I don't understand. But I do love learning. I do love working to my own schedule and getting the support when I need extra help. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before 28 November.
At school I was falling behind. They thought I wasn't trying, bruh. Truth is, I couldn't see well, and I felt as small as the words on the board. And then, teacher came to sit with me and realized I needed classes. Bruh, now everything's changed.
Take time to listen. With enough love and support, children don't just catch up, they thrive.
Visit holdmyhand.org.za.
Together, we can change their future.
In a world where safety matters, you deserve protection you can trust. CIRA regulates South Africa's private security industry, ensuring only trained and qualified providers serve the public. From bodyguards and assets in transit to electronic security, investigations, event safety, locksmiths, and guarding. Every service must meet the highest standards. CIRA, protecting you and those who protect you.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for that video to download. Or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 30754. Like 57-year-old Andy, who now pays only 1,083 Rand a month for his 2024 Ford Ranger. With Outsurance Comprehensive, you get 24/7 roadside assistance in case you break down, run out of petrol, lock your keys in the car, and more. Get used to getting more out. SMS out to 30754. After switching, 48-year-old Felicity now pays only 836 Rand a month for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson. Outsurance will either save you money on your car insurance or give you cash. That's right. If Outsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
Extraordinary doesn't just happen, it's built brick by digital brick. Vodacom Business is helping shape South Africa's businesses, from scalable cloud and AI that powers smarter decisions to IoT and connectivity that bridges every gap, backed by security that you can trust. Together with business and government, Vodacom Business is building stronger industries and thriving communities. A nation ready to lead. Visit www.vodacombusiness.co.za. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Vodacom Business, further together.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations, and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Streaming Scheme Sum on the way to class.
Catching the Premier League while waiting for your order.
Jamming to Metro FM before you even get out of bed.
On SABC Plus, sinayo yonke into ifunayo. Your shows, your music, your way, anytime, anywhere. Zero subscription fees.
On your phone, tablet, or smart TV.
Download SABC Plus on iOS or Google Play Store.
You could spend 10 minutes hunting for the TV remote or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For her 2024 Kia Picanto, 52-year-old Janine now only pays 561 Rand a month. And for her 2025 Jetour Dashing, 29-year-old Sana pays just 796 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Are you looking for the best spectacle and sunglass deal? With Specsavers buy one, get one offer, you get great value for money. Get a free pair of branded single vision prescription sunglasses up to 3,300 Rand when you purchase a comprehensive eye examination and spectacle frames with lenses on your first pair. The best part? Choose from top brands like Police, Hugo, Under Armour, Tommy Hilfiger, Red Bull Specs, and more. Affordable eye care? Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
The voice of Dr. T.T. Chulu opens a breathtaking journey of courage and memory. The Fatherland, directed by Aubrey Sikabi, combines music, movement, and a helicopter on stage. Experience it live at the South African State Theatre until the 9th of November. Tickets start from 150 Rand with special discounted prices. The Fatherland, where South Africa's story soars to new heights.
SAFM 104 to 107. Nationwide.
All right, it's just gone 2:15. It's time for us to dip right back at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And we're going to ride with this until Ashraf takes over with the National Pulse 3.
Draw a distinction between the instruction that you had given Brigadier Mokoena, and what you heard during the commission's process was the instruction that Brigadier Mokoena gave to his team. Can you explain that distinction, but also then reference why you've now referred to it as your inquiry was whether there was a legitimate police operation?
Yes, commissioners, my instruction to him was in relation to whether the human beings that were on the door were they real police or not real police, right? Because someone has gone there, said it's from the Hawks, and the Hawks has confirmed they do not have an operation. Two was, if they were police, they further stated that they were sent by General Libya. So I wanted to find out, did those members who were there state that they were sent by Libya? But the snippets that I had of the commission, it appeared as if at some point Mokoena would have understood me to be saying, verify whether the operation is legitimate. And that was not the interest that I have. But when I hear other witnesses as well, they seem to be wanting to confirm whether they are police or not. So I don't know whether it's only Mokoena that was thinking of the verification of the legitimacy of the operation, because when I hear other witnesses, those that he tasked, they seem to have understood it correctly, that they wanted to verify whether these officers involved were real legitimate police officers. So that is what I was just trying to indicate.
And why is that distinction important?
Because to verify if the person is a police officer or not, all you need is for him to produce his appointment certificate. But to verify if his operation is legitimate or not. Now you need to check whether there is a valid search warrant or valid warrant warrant of arrest. Whereas it was not of interest to me whether they've got a J51 or 50, the warrant of arrest or search warrant. Of importance to me was whether they are genuine police. And as soon as they send the message that confirms that these are genuine police, my mission is finished.
But unless I'm mistaken, I think maybe about 3-4 minutes back,
yeah,
you yourself said that you wanted them to verify if the operation was legitimate.
No.
I thought you used that.
If I said that, I would have been wrong. Because what I tasked them to do.
Where I'm getting with that is it perhaps not pedantic of you to want to make a distinction between verify whether the people were police officers or whether the operation was legitimate? I'm saying that because it may well be that they too did not necessarily seek to draw a distinction between the two. So that's why I'm saying maybe you are being pedantic. What's your comment on that? Unless I'm wrong that a few minutes back you yourself said you had sent them there to verify if the operation was legitimate.
You are correct, Chair. That's why I asked General Mboto. He said to verify whether it was a legitimate police operation, and that's why I wanted him to clarify make the distinction.
Exactly, General. So aren't you perhaps being pedantic? You yourself used the language that they used, but you find fault with them if they use that language, the language that you yourself also used.
All right, commissioners, maybe it's important that I give the background to this, to what necessitated our interest in it. The problems that we were having when I arrived in October was that we had a large number of cases that were reported of people pretending to be the police. So the interest that I would have had is whether those people are not some of the people that have generated more than 30 cases. So that would have been the interest. So for this verification to assist us, it would have been if we verified whether these are police or not police. So if I have used a wrong term to say verify the operation, then it will miss the purpose, because the purpose is to verify if this is not one of those people that is generating cases. So I could have used the wrong word, but then that would have been a slip of a tongue. The correct one is to verify if this is a genuine police, so that if it not, it will assist in solving these 30 cases that we have.
Yes, you have given us examples of those. I think they total 33 in DPM2.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Commissioner. In that context, the legitimacy of that operation would not assisted us in addressing the challenge that we're having.
Is it possible that when you gave the instruction to Brigadier Mokoena on the 6th of December 2024 that you didn't make this distinction that you're making now, and he may have misunderstood the extent of the inquiry?
I would have thought so, commissioners, if it wasn't because I see the other witnesses understood it in the correct context. So it would not have been possible for those other witnesses down the chain to have gotten the initial version had it not been conveyed so by Mokoena, because the only contact between what I said and what they thought they were going to do was Mokoena. So I'm assuming that Mokoena must have given them the correct version. Otherwise, why would they think so on their own?
And here you're referring to Warrant Officer Nkosi.
And Kruger.
Okay.
Yes. Captain Kruger, yes.
Thank you, General.
Can I ask a question? Just out of interest, General, do you know General Kumalo, who's referred to in page 18?
I know him very well.
Did you know him on 6 December 2024?
I've known him for a while.
So you could pick up a phone and ask him, you have an operation in Sandhurst. Solve your problem.
Indeed, indeed. That's why I'm saying, as soon as I got the message at 1658, I had no further interest.
No, but 20 minutes later,
yes,
you have interest because you now want to know who said they were sent by General.
Yes, yes, that is correct.
And 20 minutes later, if I'm not mistaken, you then insist on a response. So you want to know,
indeed,
Brigadier, who said they were sent by General Libya?
Correct.
Which means you want the Hawks people who are there to interrogate the people at Sandhurst so that they can find out who said they were sent by General Libya.
All right. That is correct, Commissioner. Commissioner, these questions, I thought it's what they would have asked. So I was checking with Mukwena if in the response that they've already given him, did they mention who said it's been sent by General Libya, if they are General Kumalo's people? But General Kumalo would not have been able to answer that. So I thought when these colleagues come there, they will find out who's in charge. Now they know that it's Colonel Kumalo in charge. Then I thought they will ask, did any one of you said they came from the Hawks or you were sent by General Libya? So when I'm asking this, I'm asking on the feedback that Mukwena has received. If in the feedback, did he receive a response to that?
No, but you are saying, Brigadier, establish for me who said that he was sent by General Libya.
Correct, but that is immediately when he is sending, you look at the timelines, 1658, he's saying Kumalo is in charge. And then I'm sending him a message back at 1704, 6 minutes later. I'm assuming that they are still together where they are to establish if there is anyone who informed the owners of the premises if they were sent by General Libya.
But this is where your statement does not make sense to me. You said earlier that you just wanted a car to go there and scan the area. Now, scanning the area is different from saying you now want the people who are there to be interrogated so that they can say who said they were sent by General Libya. That's the part I don't understand.
All right. Commissioner, let me move slowly. The first portion is when I did not know that the police are real or not. Because we only sent 2 vehicles, we did not expect that vehicles to go into the premises. So the first vehicle, my expectation was that it will scan and then report to us to decide what do we do next. But it appears now that that process has passed because they've gone to a point where they now confirm it's the police and Colonel Kumalo is in charge. Now, since they are now saying that, that means they're no longer just scanning and moving they've confirmed now that this is a real police operation. We are now comfortable with each other. We are police. Now, I want to know now because the initial information that we received was saying there are people here who say they're from the Hawks and they say they're sent by General Libya. Now I'm saying since now Kumalo is there, they are with him. He says he's in charge. Can you tell us now who said he's been sent by General Libya? So that we could have by the time I give feedback to General Libya, I should be able to say it's a legitimate police operation and the response is that no one mentioned your name, meaning whoever would have said to General Libya that they were sent by the Hawks would have been misleading. That's the feedback I wanted to give.
Thank you.
You say you wanted to establish whether it's a bogus operation or not.
That's
and
right.
you've explained that once they have verified, that's the end of the task that you have sent them to do.
Yes.
Why are you asking that question when you have now been told it's a legit operation? You've been told Lieutenant General Kumalo is in charge. You can speak to General Kumalo and raise whatever concerns you have. Why are you asking that question about who said they were sent by General Lebeya?
Thanks, Commissioner. Because I just needed a confirmation from them that they did not say that, so that I can convey the same message. Because a general who's spoken to Kumalo or whoever it is, I think it was Wanda, who said, but we never mentioned General Libya's name. So that when I give the information back, by that time we are relaxed now, because we already know now it's the police now. So these are my colleagues. So we need just a confirmation from them. Did you say you were sent by Libya? So the most important part was whether this was a police operation or not. But once we've now determined that it's a police operation, we are no longer under pressure now. So it's my colleagues, but who said you were sent by Libya? So that we can give General Libya the feedback. Say, but those people never mentioned your name there. That was the purpose.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up question. When did you become aware? Because you say by 1704 you are relaxed because you now know that it is the police at the sent address. When did you become aware that 50 minutes later, the Hawks team that was sent to the sender's address was still there? Because at 1754, they were still at the sender's address, 50 minutes after you became comfortable that this police operation.
No, I did not follow further as to whether the colleagues are there. But for me, I never had any further stress about this matter now, because now I know this is a genuine police operation. So I'm relaxed now. I'm not worried about it. So I would not have followed up to find out what time they left. Yes.
Having had the evidence in this commission, are you not bothered that 50 minutes after you became comfortable that this is a police operation, your Hawks members were still at the sender's address while a police operation was going on? Does that not concern you now?
It did. It did, because I couldn't. It's maybe I should use the word. I don't understand why they were still there. I'm not really worried, because there could be a reason that they possibly have that I don't know. Because as far as I'm concerned, after 1658 or 1704, they would have been done with the mission that they were sent there to do. But if they're still there, it's just that by that time I became aware, it was during when they are supposed to be testifying in the commission, and I did not want to interfere with that process. Hence, I haven't found out from them, because there's a lot of other things that I would have been concerned about that I had in the commission, but I would not want to engage them until they finalize the giving of evidence in the commission.
So you did not want to interfere with the work of the commission?
Yes.
Thank you.
General, you say that after they told you that it's a legitimate operation, at 1658 you relaxed. But when you look at page 18 and 19, these texts, at 1741 you're still asking for a response on who mentioned General Libya. And you ask that even after you are given the telephone number of Captain Wanda, who is in charge of the operation. So there's a good nearly 30 minutes when you, in fact, are interested in who mentioned General Libya, when you have long been told this is a legitimate operation.
Sorry, Commissioner Baloy, that is not a message from the general. It is from Brigadier Mokoena. His message is sent at 17:18, which says any response to this,
I
and then
apologize
in
for that.
response.
Okay, I apologize. You can disregard my question.
Thank you, the Commissioner.
So maybe if we can just stay with that WhatsApp messages at page 19. You've explained that you asking who said that General Abia sent them, and then you at 17:18 ask for any response to this. A response comes back at 17:21, which just mentions Captain Wanda and J51 operation. Had you asked for any information about the operation that's being undertaken? If you see the response from Brigadier Mokoena, yes, page 19 of the text, where it says Jen, the members in charge, do you see that?
Yes.
Of the team at the address is Captain Wanda, and then a telephone number is provided, J51 operation.
Yes.
Had you asked for information about what operation was taking place?
No, not interested in it.
Okay. So the response that you're interested in is the one that comes at 17:41.
That's correct.
And can you just tell us what that response was?
I spoke with Captain Wanda on a video call and confirmed J51 operation, but deny mentioning General Libia's name, Jen.
And this is Brigadier Mokoena now confirming that he spoke on the video call.
Yes.
Is there any further communication between you and Brigadier Mokoena after 17:41 on that day that you haven't shared with us?
I don't think there was any further information, because this is the message now that I forwarded to General Libya to inform him. Because for me, this response is now complete.
And if we look at your response to General Libya on page 9,
yes.
If you can go to page 9 of the bundle,
yes.
DPM1.
Yes.
You only forward to him the message that references his name. You don't forward the earlier message as well.
No.
Why is that?
Because that is the issue that he has raised with me. He has raised two issues. So there are people that say they are Hawks members. To that question, I've already explained to him before I dispatched the vehicle that we confirm that our component heads are not having an operation. Now I'm giving him a feedback to say we have established that it is a genuine operation by the police. Captain Wanda is in charge there, but he denies ever mentioning your name there. And for us, for me at least, that has answered these two concerns.
And after your message from that you forwarded from Brigadier Mokoena, General Abia responds much later that evening.
That's good.
Was there any communication between the two of you between 17:43 and 21:45 regarding this issue?
No, there wasn't.
And his response to you is, can you tell us what it is?
I usually assume that emoji to be meaning thank you.
And then was there any further communication between you and Brigadier Mokoena after he told you, he sent his response to you, which you've already confirmed there was nothing after 17:41? I just want to make sure.
Yes, that was the last thing that was of importance to me about this whole thing. When he reports that it's a police operation, Wanda never mentioned a name of General Libya. That ends our interest in the matter.
Thank you, General. If we can go to page 6 of your statement. It's The heading relates to an allegation from a person on the scene.
Yes.
And if I can just give context to why you deal with this in your statement. During preparation of your statement, you were made aware by the Commissioner's evidence leaders that there was an allegation by another witness at the time his identity was not disclosed to you, and you now know that it is Warrant Officer Nkosi because he gave that evidence, that when he was at the scene, a gentleman approached him by the name of Mr. Mtetwa, who said that he was the person that called Patrick, and Patrick was identified by that Mr. Mtetwa as being General Mboto, which is you. You were asked whether, in light of that information, you still wanted to proceed to give your evidence before the commission or consider your position insofar as this may implicate you. And you've elected to continue to give your evidence as you have now done, but you wanted to deal with this allegation in your statement and your evidence. If you can deal with it now, and you have seen the photograph, but I'm going to project it again, and you can find it at the section that is section 3, BK5. It should be the first photograph that you see at BK5. Can you address this allegation, please?
Thank you, Commissioners. I did not receive any call from a person called Mtetwa, and the person displayed on the picture, they have never seen him. I don't know that person. But if he had called me, I would have appreciated that call, because if he did, it would have given me more information that I would have given to Abo Mkwena to operate. For example, from the time Mkwena's team left until they arrived there, I don't even know how they managed to get in, because I had not given them sufficient information. They had no contact number of the person that would have been there. So if this person was telling the truth that he called me, I was not going to request that information, the address to starters, for starters. I was not going to request that from General B, because I would have already been having it. But if this person called me, how General Libya would know that someone who called me, the address that I must send the people to is this specific address? Because General Libya would not have known of a call that I'm having with this person. But the address that I got, and the address to which Mukwena's people went, is the address that originates from General Libya. At some point, I'm asking General Libya for the contact numbers. But if I already had contact numbers from this gentleman, there is no more purpose for me to ask for the numbers from General Libya, because I'm already having the numbers. So, and also the issue that I thought was mentioned, that the purpose was to establish whether there was a warrant of arrest or search warrant there. But that message, if that is the driving message that initiates us, doesn't get conveyed to the actual people who are going to respond, because none of them responded with an understanding that they are looking for those. So it would have been very difficult for this version to be correct, because it would require General Libya somehow to know what communications I've had and to give me the exact address that this Mtetwa is at, but get it from General Libya, who was not part of the conversation. That was the part, Commissioners, I wanted to raise.
Is it possible that after you had spoken to General Libya, this person, Mtetwa, contacted you and gave you these details? That's why you never followed up with General Libya as regards the details of the person they will meet when they get to Sandhurst.
Yes, Commissioner, but if I had gotten that, it is helpful information. I should pass it to Mukwena. because it doesn't assist if it is with me. The only time that it becomes useful is when it lands to Mukwena. So if that was the version, Commissioner, that will be helpful, because then I'll pass it to Mukwena so that the team now has a contact person.
So other than the WhatsApps that we see, did you have calls with Mokwena between 4 and 5 o'clock on the day in question? So was there telephone calls other than the WhatsApp messages?
Between 4 and 5?
Yes, on the 6th of December 2024.
If there was a call, it should be before that. It should be at the time when I'm looking for them to verify if they've got an operation. That is where the calls should be at.
My question is more specific. Between 4 and 5, were there any phone calls between you and Brigadier Mokwena?
I don't remember. And a call after that time, because at that time we were exchanging WhatsApps.
Yes.
So I don't remember that there would be a call, a physical call.
Because this is the sort of information that could have been shared during a phone call, even if we cannot see it in any WhatsApp.
But I would have thought that if there was a call, it would be on a WhatsApp call. So the WhatsApp would have reflected that, the WhatsApp communication, because we have not deleted anything up to so far. So that would be displayed if that was.
Because it worries me that General Patrick Dumisani Mboto is the person who sends the Hawks to this address in Sandhurst. And then there's a person, a certain Mr. Mtetwa, at the same address who says, I call Patrick. Now, in this scene, the only Patrick that we have heard of is you.
Correct.
There's no other Patrick that we have heard of.
All right. But commissioners, this should not be a very difficult part for the commission investigators to establish if was there a call that I'd received. My handset is here. We can subpoena the Vodacom. There is so many ways you can prove whether I'm telling the truth or not.
And is that the only cell phone you were using on the day?
I only have one cell phone.
No, on the day, not
Yes,
now.
yes, on the day. Still the same number. I've had it for more than 15 years.
Is it a service cell phone or a private cell phone?
Indeed, it's a service. It's not.
You did not have a private cell phone on the day?
No, I don't.
All right. I'm only asking these questions, General, because I want to, deal with the topic we are dealing with.
Indeed.
There's a private person who says they called you.
Yes.
And we just want to get clarity on that. Thanks.
Got it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I think adding to that, General, there is the difficulty of the improbability of a member of the public who is standing witnessing a police operation and then approaching a member of the Hawks to say, I have called Patrick. And I must say, until I read your statement, I didn't know that your name is Patrick. But this person says to a member of the Hawks, I've called Patrick, but in fact, on the evidence that we have, Mokwena spoke to Captain Wanda on that person's phone, on Mr. Mtetwa's phone. That's who Mokwena spoke to. He spoke through Mtetwa with Wanda. And it's difficult to understand how this Mtetwa would not have had the kind of connection that he has claimed to one of your people. And even if you heard about it during your engagement with the commission, it would be a curiosity to me, at least, that you have the information about Mtetwa, you have his name, his full names, you have his car details. You must therefore have his address and that you actually do not investigate who is this person and why would he say that he spoke to you, because it's quite serious that he invoked your name. And if you haven't investigated it, it would be a question of curiosity. Do you have any comment to that?
Yes, I do, commissioners. Commissioners, let's start on the day in question. What would have been the harm if I had received a call from Teto? What is it that would require to deny? Because I don't know whom Teto is. I have not even heard of allegations that are horrible about him. So I can't see a motivation for denying having received a call from an ordinary member of the public. Had I received this call, it would have required not denying, because Mteto is not one of those people where there is an allegation of wrongdoing or has been arrested. So I've never heard of Mteto, but of importance is that I have the interest, indeed, but I could not start a parallel investigation with the commission. The commission, possibly in my head, is that this Mtetwa is going to be one of the witnesses. But now it can't be that the commissioner is busy investigating. Now we are now running a parallel investigation. For ours, if we want to do an investigation, the commission will be finished with theirs first. Then we can investigate who this person is. But if it were to happen now, parallel to the investigators of the commission, it could have a very wrong interpretation.
Without saying that's your reason, that would be your reason in this case. Can I suggest this possible explanation why there would be an incentive to deny? It is, we now know that the person at that house is Mr. Katiso Molefe, who is implicated in very serious allegations. We also know, or allegations at least have been made, that he is connected to police officers, senior police officers.
Correct.
With those allegations, that in itself would provide an incentive to distance yourself from him, without saying that's what you're doing. I'm answering you're asking the question, why would you deny it? Well, there would be an incentive to deny it. Surely that's a fair proposition to make. That now that we know what we know from other witnesses, or what has been alleged, let me say that, what has been alleged by other witnesses and what is in public media, there would be an incentive to distance, for any senior police officer, in fact, to distance themselves from any association with Mr. Molefe. And I would be surprised if that was not the case.
Commissioners, I would have agreed with the commissioner if the commissioner was saying I would have an incentive to distance myself from Mr. Molefe. I would understand that. But to distance myself from someone that I have not heard of being associated with the wrongdoing, I might have a different view. I'm not saying the commissioner's view is wrong, but I would not understand why I would want to distance myself from someone that at this moment I'm not aware of wrongdoings from his part. So, yeah, so that's my response. Thank you.
I've heard your response.
Thank you. General, in fairness to you, the information that your name was used, was referenced at that scene, only became available last week when we were consulting with Warrant Officer Nkosi. You had not been informed of that prior to that. But just to follow on what the commissioners were saying is that, and I would not put it any higher than it being peculiar, that Mr. Mteto was identified by two people on the scene for two different reasons. And those two people didn't interact with each other, being Warrant Officer Nkosi and Captain Wanda. According to Warrant Officer Nkosi, he didn't engage anybody of the takedown team, so he wouldn't have spoken to Captain Wanda. And they both identify Mr. Mtetwa. Captain Wanda identifies him as the person whose cell phone who gave him a cell phone to speak to Brigadier Mokoena on the other end, which suggests that Brigadier Mokoena certainly knows Mr. Mtetwa. And on the other hand, it's that Warrant Officer Nkosi identifies him as the person that said he had called you. So I think there is certainly a basis for us to engage you on this as to whether you know the person and why now there would be, if you do know him, why there would be an attempt to distance yourself. But I accept what you say is that if you did know the person, certain information you would not have been privy to. You would have had certain information which you were requesting actually from General Abia, which you say supports your version that you didn't know him.
I confirm that, but also maybe to take it a point further, if I had received this call, I was going to get more information that I would have passed to the team of Mgwe because they would have needed it. I would have given them the phone number. I would have given them an indication as to what to expect where they are going. Thank you, Commissioner.
But wouldn't that associate you with Mr. Katiso Molefe and this Mr. Mtetwa, who, according to Warrant Officer Nkosi, is related to Mr. Katiso Molefe?
But I would not have known that he's related. So I would have if he had called me, I would have taken the call. I would not have known that. Remember, at that time, I would have not even have known of Katiso Molefe's existence. So if I had received a call from Mr. Mtetwa, I would have taken up the call.
So I take it you deny the allegation that you and Mr. Mtetwa are old bras. You come from way back.
I don't know him. And not only that, Mtetwa is one of those not very common surnames. It's not a surname that I can easily forget. I was as I was preparing here, I was looking at my phone. I could see that I've got a lot of Chaukes and Mukwenas and Kumalos, but Mtetwas are very rare, at least in my space. So I would not forget that I have a friend, his name is Mtetwa, because he would most probably have been the only one.
Have you had time since you were made aware of this allegation to run the number plates that we see in BK5 on page 21?
No, I would not do that because that is now in the hands of the investigators of the commission. I would not be running anything to do with those numbers.
No, not for the purposes of the investigators.
Right.
To satisfy yourself that this person who drives this black Mercedes-Benz, I won't mention the name
Right.
in the number plate
Right.
for obvious reasons, that I've checked this, I've checked their initials, I've checked their surname. This is not a person that I know.
No, definitely I would not do that, commissioners, until the commission is finalized with what they're doing. I would not do it. I would not want to test even the vehicles that the commissioner is going to be testing
But
themselves.
your opportunity to deny that you know the person is today.
Yes, but I'm saying today I don't know the person. And for me to say I don't know the person, I do not require the ownership of his vehicles because I've been shown a picture. I don't know the person. And also, as I've said, my phone number or anything on my phone is available for the downloading or analysis to say, here you've communicated with this gentleman, and the commission investigators are most welcome to anything that will satisfy them on it.
General, does it happen every day in the DPCI that someone calls and says there's something going on at a house and people are claiming to be the hawks, and you just dispatch people, your people, you have no information whatsoever, according to you. You don't have a contact number. You don't know what they're going to find on the ground. You think it's a bogus operation because that's what you've been told at that time. And then you say to your members, just send one car with 2 people and go and check. Is that something that happens every day? Is that how you do things?
Thanks, Commissioner. My understanding was in relation to the concern that was raised by General Libya when I arrived in October. He had raised concerns about bogus DPCI members that are scamming people across the board. Now, most of those investigations ended up in prisons, that people in prison were conducting that. Now, so most of it, what became difficult in those investigations is that even if you were eventually going to find a handset in a communal cell, it will come with its challenges because you will most probably not be able to link it to someone. Now, when we get a hint of physical people who are not the ones that are scammers inside the prison, we are obviously interested in this one because we are frustrated with the cases that we have that ends up in prison. So when we have this one, so it was important for us to go and verify what is happening. So, but it's not something that we do every day, but it is, if you look at it separate from the problems that we were having of these bogus Hawks members, it might not make sense. But to us, it was exciting because now we've got physical human beings that are at a gate somewhere. That would have been the reason.
I think the nub of, or the sting of my question is, you have absolutely no information. You don't even have a contact number. So you're sending General Mokoena to.
On the top story, Katie Molefe address under Madlanga spotlight and court rules in favor of informal traders in the Seri matter. For SAFM News, I'm Ondelambana and a very good afternoon. The home address of murder accused Katiso Katie Molefe was forwarded to Hawks members by retired Hawks head General Godfrey Lebeya. This is according to the witness testimony of Lieutenant General Patrick Mboto, who is the Hawks Divisional Commissioner. General Mboto has told the Commission that he in turn forwarded the message to the Hawks Tactical Response Head, Brigadier Lisiba Mokoena. Mboto is testifying about the events leading up to Molefe's arrest in December 2024, when Hawks members were dispatched to what they believed was a bogus SAPS operation at Molefe's Sandhurst home in Johannesburg. Mboto's evidence is being led by advocate Lee Segels Ncube.
After General Lebeya sends you the address, you send a message to him.
Yes.
Can you read that message for us and tell us why you sent it to him?
I asked the question, any contact number when we get there, General? There I was asking if he's got any contact person or a number that we can use so that the team, when they arrive there, because my problem was I did not know whether when they will get there, the gates would be closed.
The High Court in Johannesburg has ruled that the city of Johannesburg must immediately begin verification, registration, re-registration and allocation processes for informal traders who were removed from parts of the city centre. The Socio-Economic Rights Institute took the city to court on behalf of the informal traders last week over the forced removals. The city said they were operating illegally and in areas not designated for trading. Delivering judgment, Judge Brett Wendless said the processes must start tomorrow.
The first respondent, the City of Johannesburg, is to conduct an expedited verification, registration, re-registration, allocation process as contemplated by the Informal Trading Bylaw promulgated in the Provincial Gazette dated 14 March 2012, Local Authority Notice 328, read with the applicable provisions of the Businesses Act 71 of 1991 as amended.
The man accused of killing 5 people at a tavern in Zitobeni 2 weeks ago has abandoned his bail application. Xolani Zulu appeared briefly before the Bronkhorstspruit Magistrates Court outside Pretoria earlier today. The 33-year-old is allegedly one of the 2 men who entered the liquor outlet and demanded that one of the patrons hand over his firearm. A shot was fired when the 2 reportedly opened fire randomly, killing some patrons and wounding others. The state says the charges are serious and Zulu faces Schedule 6 offences. NPA spokesperson Lumka Mahanjana believes the state has a strong case against the accused.
So basically, the accused persons who's charged with 5 counts of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder appeared briefly in